I'm here at the Hill Resort Hotel in Tha Song Yang, Thailand, and I've got budget hotels on my mind this morning, so I thought I'd talk about that a little bit. This is kind of a budget hotel in general, but this is very much the budget accommodation that they offer. When I showed up here yesterday, I was so tired, and I'd actually looked around at a couple of other places where I could stay in this town. But again, I was so tired, I just wanted a room. And when I finally ended up here, and he started telling me, okay, we have this over here for 600, we have that over there for 500, that for 400, and then we have something for 300. And I said, you know, being a budget traveler kind of guy, I said, well, show me the 300 room. And he opened the door and showed me this place. It had a bed and a fan. There's no air conditioning, and I'm fine with that because it's really cold. And I says, oh, 300? Okay, I'll take this room without even thinking about it. As I said, I just needed a place to stay. So I took the room, paid for it, and then I found out, of course, that it's not just that there's no air con, and it's very basic and simplistic. For 300, you also don't get Wi-Fi, and you don't get hot water. And I'm fine with cold water showers, to be honest, but in this cold temperature, that water, man, it is ice cold. And the biggest problem is not having any Wi-Fi. So to be honest, this room is not exactly suitable for me at the moment, but I make do, I make do with what I have. But I started thinking about budget rooms and all the little quirks and things and the way I've learned to deal with them over the years. What will I start with? Let's start with the bed, because here in Asia, you generally don't get any top sheets on the beds. Someone in the comments said, no, of course there are sheets. What kind of hotels don't have sheets? But I can tell you that in the last month, I've probably stayed at 10 different hotels in this part of Thailand. Some of them very nice hotels. None of them have had sheets. They'll have a fitted sheet around the mattress, and then there will be some kind of a duvet or quilt like this one here. And this is like a slippery nylon thing that is really uncomfortable against your skin. And obviously it's very short. It does not even reach down, from my shoulders to my feet. So I always bring my own sleeping sheet, which you see here. So I always have my own 100% cotton sheet that I bring with me everywhere. And a funny thing about these fitted sheets in Asia is that they never fit. So here on the corner, for example, if I sit down on the bed or lie down and move at all, this happens. The corner does not stay in place. So the entire time you're staying at a hotel like this, all you're doing is pushing this back into place. And as soon as you sit down on the bed, it just pops up again. And then you're sleeping against this cold vinyl. And that drives me crazy. So what I do is I travel with a collection of safety pins. And this is the corner that's the problem, because this is where I'm sleeping. And last night, every time I turned around, the corner pulled up and I was sleeping on cold vinyl again. So what I do is take out my safety pins. And here, you can see one right there. So I have 3 safety pins holding that corner in position so I can actually get a good night's sleep. Something else I do, of course, is I always bring a mosquito net if I can. And this room was really kind of funny because I moved into this room and then, I went to check out the bathroom, take a shower and get settled in. And when I opened the door to the bathroom, it was filled with mosquitoes. There was clouds of mosquitoes in the bathroom. And when I opened the door, of course, they came pouring out into this room. And me being in here and breathing out carbon dioxide and giving off body warmth was like ringing the dinner bell for every mosquito in a 10-mile radius. And they all came pouring into this room. And I never would have gotten any sleep if I didn't have a mosquito net. So I take the time to put it up, and that can be a bit of a challenge. This mosquito net is one of the box nets. It has 4 corners, and every corner has to be tied off. So I have to roam around the room and find 4 places where I can tie up a rope. So for example, I've got one of these curtain rods, and I tied off one of the ropes here. And then I tied off one of the ropes on that curtain rod. And then over here, there was nothing to tie anything off to, but I also carry in my toolkit a set of these screws that you can screw into the wall. And there was a hole here already. I don't put holes in places where there aren't holes, but there's actually a screw hole here, and I could screw this in, and then I could hang my mosquito net from there and arrange it on my bed. So I can tell you, without that mosquito net, without that sheet, and without those safety pins, I wouldn't have gotten any sleep at all last night. And it turned out my brand new, somewhat ridiculous orange jacket, my my dancer jacket, turned out to be extremely handy already, because I had to sleep in that last night. It was so cold here last night that even with this sheet and this pulled over me and with the mosquito net kind of around me, it was way too cold to sleep. And I had to put on clothing. I had to put on a t-shirt, pants, and that jacket in order to bundle up on the bed and get some sleep. When I first moved into the room yesterday, it was the end of the day. It was around 5:30 or something like that. So it was pretty warm in here. Actually, the sun had been beating down, and I thought I would use the fan. So this is actually kind of funny. You know, it's one of these giant ceiling fans that turns around, and you can't really stop it from turning around. You can't aim it in a certain direction. It has to spin, I believe. So I turned it on. It's got a little dial here on the wall. And this is what the fan does. Thump. Here it's coming around. Thump. And it thumps like that 2 times on every revolution. And during the night, of course, that thumping is so loud, you can't sleep either. You know, you start hearing it and you start listening for it. And then all night, it's sort of like thump, thump, and it shakes things. And I eventually had to turn the fan off because, and it starts squeaking too, makes a squeaking noise. So the fan is of no use at all to anyone. And it ended up being so cold last night that you wouldn't be running the fan anyway. The other issue with these budget rooms is still thumping. The light bulb. This is the bulb that comes with the room, like 9 watts. They always put in these low wattage, money-saving, energy-saving bulbs in these budget rooms, which is why I tend to bring my own bulb if I can. So this is a regular 100-watt bulb, and it makes a huge difference plugging in a bulb like that. It just lights up the room and makes it cheerful. Those energy-saving bulbs, yeah, great for the environment, I guess, but I think it's more meant to save them money on electricity, and the room is just so dim and dark, it gets a little bit depressing. What else? Oh yeah, the bathroom. It's pretty funny. You'll notice I have something rigged up here. I've got a bungee cord holding the door closed because on this bathroom, as I said, here's the bathroom. Cold water only, and that's serviceable, but it's filled with mosquitoes. And if this door is open, all the mosquitoes come in. I think they come up through that drain because it's an open drain, or maybe there's gaps all around the ceiling. I don't know how they're getting in, but they're getting in. It's full of mosquitoes. And if the door is open, the mosquitoes come in through the bathroom and then come into the main room. So I want to close the bathroom door to keep them out. but it won't close, all right? There's no way to keep, there's no latch of any kind. So you can try to close it and it just swings open again. So bungee cord to the rescue. I always travel with a bunch of ropes and straps and things like that. And let's see if I can get this. There we are. I can use one of my bungee cords and then I can pull the door closed. Luckily, there is something about this bathroom that helps with the cold water, because they've got a heavy-duty water supply coming in. So they actually have a lot of water pressure. There's the shower head over there, and here's this heavy-duty valve system feeding it water. And so you get a lot of water flow, which is really nice. One thing I've learned over the years is that cold water is okay for a shower, but if it's trickling out, then it's like cold water torture. So if you do have cold water showers, the more water pressure, the better. And the other thing that's really handy, particularly in budget hotels, is this, which is like a toiletry bag with a hook. I always put hooks on everything. I'm just a big fan of hanging things up, because you often don't have anywhere where you can put anything. So if you try to put things down, there's no shelves, no counters, all you've got is the wet floor. Well, this one actually has a little shelf underneath the mirror there, but I've noticed that it just collects water. It's soaking wet all the time. So anything you put down there is just going to be soaking wet. So I like to just hang everything up. So I always have a toiletry kit like that. And I redesigned it myself. All of this is my own design, so that I put straps in place so I can hang up all of my things. And I added Velcro for my brush, and my toothbrush and my razor. So all these loops were not there when I bought it. I added all those loops. I just like to have things hanging like that. It's easier to access them. But anyway, let's get out of here before we let any more mosquitoes into my room. So I find it very useful to travel with little doodads, little tools. They always come in handy if you're living that budget life, I guess. I do also often wonder about things that are missing from these budget rooms. I mean, tables and chairs are really important to me. And it seems like it would be such a no-brainer that even in a budget room like this, why not? Why not put in a little table? It's not going to cost anything. I would put in a little bedside table here, where you put your smartphone and your cup of coffee and things like that. And then I would have, a big table over here where you can lay out all of your, your belongings. I always lay everything out on the bed because I'm here by myself. But if there were two people in here, you definitely want a table. And how much does a table cost these days? Costs next to nothing. So I often wonder why things like that. I can understand a room like this falling apart. The fan barely works. The door doesn't close. Things get old, and it's a very big place. I'm going to take you outside in a minute and show you the rest of the resort. So I can understand letting things go over time, but I don't know. To me, it shows a certain amount of lack of care for your guests, not to spend a little bit of money and buy certain inexpensive items that would, add a great deal of value, to the place overall, like a table, just a table. Yeah. Anything else to talk about? I mean, electricity is always a big deal, especially today, because you have to charge everything, and a table would be very useful for that. And with a budget room, you often get one electrical outlet, just one, and it will be located right beside the door. So your light switch, electricity, fan control is always in one spot right by the door. So it's not very convenient from the bed. And I need more than one outlet, of course. So I always have a power bar right here, So I have an extension cord going all the way to the outlet over there, so I can have power beside the bed. And of course, there's like 5 or 6, maybe 5, yeah, 5 outlets on that power bar. So I can, at the very least, plug in my laptop and have my laptop sitting on my lap, you know, on the bed as I'm working, and I can have it plugged in. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do that because the outlet is so far away. But of course, not having a table, look at that, you know, very expensive laptop sitting on the floor, my smartphone's sitting on the floor being charged, and all of that could be fixed with a simple table at the very least. But hey, I digress. What I'm talking about is electrical outlets, and what I have at the moment are these. So this is a, let's pull that out of there, a 2-outlet adapter. It's sort of an international style, so any kind of plug can plug into these, and it has these 2 prongs here, so I can plug in 2 things at the same time. And I have 2 of them, and this room happens to have 2 outlets, which is nice. So in fact, I have 4 items plugged in right now. I have my power bar. This is the charger for one of my GoPros, charger for my microphones, and then I have my kettle plugged in on that one. So having as many adapters and extension cords and a power bar is very handy when you're staying in budget rooms like this. But right now, unfortunately, I've got a bit of a mess going on down there. Well, I've reached the point where I either have to pay for another night here or see if I want to move. I wouldn't mind moving to a new hotel completely, to be honest, but I've left it too late. It's almost checkout time now, and I'll probably just stay in this room for one more night. But I think I will ask to see one of their 400 baht per night rooms. Oh boy, I just spotted something. I heard some buzzing yesterday, and I wondered, it's like, man, that sounds like a big bug. And there it is over there. Huh. Luckily, I think the cold weather has kind of frozen him in place. He's not very active, but I think I'll close the curtain to give him some privacy and not wake him up out of his cold slumber. I just realized why I can't remember the room number. It's because my key, I noticed this yesterday, says room 26. So I thought it was room 26, but I remembered going into the room and it said room number 2. So I couldn't, like, what room number is this? But I guess there used to be a 6 here, but it fell off. Oh. So this is what my bungalow looks like. It's kind of handy because it does have all this parking right here for the scooters. And I think these rooms over here on the right, I think those are 400 baht a night. And then the price goes up, and they have bigger bungalows over here that are up to 600 baht per night, I think. And I haven't explored this place at all, so I have no idea what's going on. But I assume this pond over here is where all the mosquitoes are coming from. And perhaps this is where the water for my shower is coming from as well. I assume so. The original plan for today was to ride my scooter outside of town, about 12 kilometers maybe. There's a cave near here I wanted to explore. But I'm having a very slow start this morning, so I may or may not make it to the cave today. This afternoon, but we'll see. But I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow to go to the cave, spend an extra day here. The ride here from Mesod was just so amazing. It was so interesting and a lot of fun. But it also took a lot out of me, and I feel like my body needs a day to recover, and my brain needs a day to recover as well and sort of process the experience. Wow, look at this. That is very nice. I was complaining yesterday that this hotel is so far outside of town. There's actually a cluster of hotels here with like bungalow style hotels. There's the Ozone, there's this one, there's another, I think there's 4 or 5 of them. I visited 2 of them and both of them are closed. So when I showed up here, I just took the room without even thinking about it because it was so much trouble finding a place. So all the hotels are out here, and I don't like that because I like to be in the middle of town if I can, just pop outside and you're in the market, Now every time I want to do something, even to see the town, I have to ride like 4 kilometers, 3 kilometers back into town. But being out here in the countryside, you do get this. Look at that amazing butterfly up there. You get large flower bushes. And here's another set of rooms here. And look at this little bungalow right here. Very quaint, looks very much like a cottage with all these flowers. Look at that butterfly. How close can I get? And yeah, there's butterflies all over the place here. And then, yeah, some really nice looking individual bungalows over here as well. I don't remember all the prices for the various bungalows. And they did say something about coffee being available in the morning, but I don't know if coffee extends to anything like breakfast. And the door is open on this one. I think they're busy cleaning it, so we can take a look inside maybe. Oh yeah, very, very different. Look at that. So in this room, you do get a table. That's why you pay more. You get your table. And yeah, it looks like there's a refrigerator, TV. Oh yeah, and air conditioner up there. Yeah, hot water heater for the bathroom. So this is a full-on room. This has all the basics that you would expect. Even has both numbers on the door. One of them hasn't fallen off. So to be honest, if I convinced myself I wanted to, spend 600 baht a night, I wouldn't get one of these anyway, because there turns out there is a hotel downtown, like a real hotel, with all the the modern conveniences, and they had a special going on for their rooms, like 600 baht per night. I went there first. I didn't see inside any of the rooms. And here's another style of room. As I said yesterday, I didn't even ask to see any rooms. I just took the first room they showed me because I just needed a place to stay. Oh, interesting that this one comes with its own hot water dispenser, its own kettle. I wonder if the other expensive rooms also have a kettle. Another odd thing about all these hotels in Thailand that I'm encountering, I can never find anybody. I'm assuming there's staff, but I never know where they are. So I often ride up to these places, wander around for a few minutes, can't find anybody, there's no front desk, and then I end up riding away, and I keep going from place to place until I find a place where they have staff. And that's where I end up staying because there's somebody home. Things are afoot. I found the same young man that helped me yesterday. He was off here in the kitchen, and with everything with my budget room I'm okay with, especially now that I've adjusted everything to my liking, but it is the lack of Wi-Fi. So I've asked him to show me one of the 400 baht rooms that has Wi-Fi. So I'm going to follow him. There he goes. No big surprise. We came all the way down here. He just wanted to show me where the sort of the dining area is, where you get coffee. But the place is so big, of course, he zooms around on his scooter when he's showing guests rooms, and we guests are plodding along behind him. So those rooms are 500 baht. The 400 ones are up here. After all this effort, I think I pretty much have to make the move now, right? And I wonder what else you get for your extra 100 baht. Ooh. So it looks like I'm going to be my own neighbor, because there's my bungalow right down there. So here's the room. Oh yeah. I think this will be my new home. Yeah, you get a lot for your extra 100 baht. You get hot water, it looks like, air conditioning, and Wi-Fi, which is the important thing. So how exciting is that? And I asked about the Wi-Fi password, and he said there was no password. So that's cool. I'm not sure why. I guess because we're in a dip here, and the router just aims. Anyway, there's no Wi-Fi inside here, but there is up there. He showed me on his phone, he's got like solid 5 or 6 bars, and down here there was nothing. I couldn't connect, and he told me, yeah, there's no Wi-Fi here in these rooms. The move is done. I'm all moved into room 21. Lucky 21. There's the old bungalow down there, and I'm sitting up here just outside the door to room 21. That's my window here. Much nicer. I'll take you inside and complete my hotel room analysis for this morning. I was just thinking about a couple of other things from the time I was staying at the Retro Home Inn. You know, a couple of unusual things. I was talking about how he distinguished between the luxury room from my standard room by the fact that the luxury room had a table in it, and that hardly seemed like a wise thing to do. I would put a table and a chair in every room. Why not? I mean, if you're going to distinguish between rooms, you should distinguish with something that's actually valuable and costs money. So here, for example, this is the 400 baht room, which comes with an air conditioning and hot water. And of course, that's a big jump up from the 300 baht room, which has neither of those and lacks Wi-Fi. But if you jump up to one of those 500 baht per night rooms, then it looks like you get a refrigerator, maybe a kettle, and I think that's it. I think basically the refrigerator and maybe the setting, because it's a separate bungalow as opposed to this, which is like part of a series of 4 rooms. So I have neighbors. Well, there's no one here except me, of course, but normal times I would have neighbors and in the bungalows. So you get privacy and a refrigerator, and that's what you get to jump up to 500 baht, the setting and the refrigerator. So that kind of makes sense. But when you're talking about tables and chairs, put them in every room, I think. And even here, outside these rooms here, I'm sitting on the railing because there are no chairs, and yet there's a balcony here. There's this long, wide balcony, and this spot right here is just crying out for some kind of chair. Why not, right? And from a guest's point of view, seeing this spot with a nice chair on the outside, you have a much better impression of the place than I do looking at it where it's, completely blank. So I would definitely invest in, you don't have to spend a lot of money on outdoor chairs. Just get the cheapest ones you can find, but just put something out here. I think it would add a great deal of value to these rooms. Same thing with tables and chairs on the inside. I have my first cup of coffee in room 21. I've got my coffee station in there all set up. Let's go inside and I'll give you a tour, more in-depth tour of room 21. Different atmosphere, you can't feel it, but I had the air conditioner running. Not so much because it needed to be colder, but I like how an air conditioner dries out the air. Acts like a dehumidifier, and it was a little bit damp in here, so I was running that air conditioner for a while. An interesting thing, there's always little tricks that you discover along the way. This is the remote for the air conditioner, of course, and I assume this is the power button, but it has no effect. I can't use this remote to turn the air conditioner on and off. It doesn't work. So in order to turn it on and off, I actually have to hit the fuse. So I turn on the fuse to turn on the air conditioner and turn it off to turn it off. That may control the hot water heater as well. Actually, I haven't tried out. Oh no, it has its own fuse over there. So I haven't tried out the hot water heater. I assume that it works. Yeah, there's nothing unusual about the bathroom except that there are no clouds of mosquitoes in here. So I can leave the door open like this. That's fine. I'm not going to have mosquitoes pouring in. That screen up there seems to be in good condition. In terms of electricity, it's kind of the same as the other room, I guess. There's one outlet down here. So in an odd twist, I said for the other room that in budget rooms, there's always one electrical outlet, and it's always right beside the door and far away from the bed. The way this room is laid out, the bed just happens to be right beside the door, so it would be convenient to have an outlet there, but it isn't. The outlet is actually on the opposite wall, way down there on the floor. I looked, I thought there might be another outlet on one side of the bed or the other, but there's only one outlet in this room, and it's down there. And it had the TV plugged into it. I just unplugged the TV, and then I put my two adapters in there. So now I have my usual 4 outlets to play with. It's not ideal because I have to have all my battery chargers and microphone chargers all down here on the ground again. There's no other way to do it. But I took my extension cord and I could plug it in here, and this room seems to be smaller, so the extension cord and my power bar, I could run it all the way up onto the bed. So up here, now I can plug in the charger for my laptop, smartphones, so I can actually charge the most important things up here on the bed. So I've got my bedside electronics station over there. Got my clothes and other bags over there, and then I have my coffee station over here. I just realized that with this light by the door, there's actually another light switch down here. And I'm assuming it's connected to here. And there is a bulb in there, but maybe the bulb was burned out. So I'm gonna put my bulb in there and see if I can fix that. It was a real puzzle box getting this out of there. It took a while to figure it out. You have to unscrew the bulb inside and then lift this out, and then you can kind of just barely get the light bulb out of there. Yeah, you have to really think, because there's no door, there's no openings, there's no way to open this lantern. But anyway, here's the bulb that I removed. It doesn't look to be in great condition. And considering how difficult it was for me to get this out of there, I can imagine it burnt out years ago and nobody could figure out how to do it, but I did. So let's see. Will I get more light in this room? Oh man, I love that. Yeah, the burnt out light bulb. People laugh at me. They laugh. They chortle. They guffaw when they find out that I carry my own light bulb with me everywhere I go. But yeah, it comes in handy all the time. I guess that's also because I like a bright room. It just makes such a difference to have as much light as possible. So yeah, okay, that makes me happy. So that is it for my thoughts on hotel rooms, budget or otherwise, and moving into room 21. See you next time.